Welcome to APCUG's Wednesday workshop, where we get together in the middle of the week. For me, it's the middle of the day, and we learn more about technology. Today, we've kind of have a all Mac day or an all Apple day, and we're going to have two different presentations today. Our first is going to be with someone we all know because he's here every week as a co-host, but today he's here as a presenter. Bill James first became involved in a PC users group back in 1992 when he joined the Oklahoma PC Users Group, that's now known as the Computer Club of Oklahoma City, to learn more about the computer he had just purchased. He's been a member of the club's board of directors since '98, served 2 terms as president, and is currently vice president of operations. Bill's very involved with home automation, using Google Home to automate his home, loves his Chromebook. In addition, he's broadening his knowledge base by learning the macOS and the iOS for Apple products and Linux. He's a member of the Windows Operating System Insider Program, and in his clubs, he's the club's go-to person on anything and everything Android. The CCOKC meets every Thursday. Bill is the leader of the Windows Tips and Tricks and the Android Study Group. As a member of APCUG Speakers Bureau, he frequently gives presentations on groups on Windows 11, Android devices, home automation, synchronization devices, and Chromebooks. Bill first attended his first APCUG conference in 2003, and within 3 years, he was on the board of directors and served as the treasurer. Currently, he is the APCUG advisor for Region 8. And if Bill isn't working with his technology, you'll find him driving his Mustang. He's the parade coordinator for the Oklahoma Mustang Club. He is also an active member of the Toastmasters International Club number 627 and facilitates their Zoom meetings. Bill's also a member of the board of directors for North Care Center, a private nonprofit behavioral and social services facility in Oklahoma City. Today, Bill's going to share with us what he has done broadening his scope of technology with the macOS operating system. So Bill, we'll let you take it over from here.
Thanks, John. I'll share my screen and we'll get started. Today, we're going to talk about Mac OS versus Windows, and I subtitled it Learning the Mac for Windows Users. But before we get into the details of this presentation, any comparison of Macs and PC needs to note that Macs are PCs. In fact, as Apple used to say in the boilerplate of every press release, Apple ignited the personal computer revolution in the 1970s with the Apple II and reinvented the personal computer in the 1980s with the Macintosh. Nor is it, strictly speaking, a comparison between the Mac operating system and Windows, because a Mac can actually run Windows. The operating system on a PC or Mac is a fundamental part of the user experience. Windows 8 was something of a car crash in terms of design and customer satisfaction. Thankfully, Windows 11 is turning out to be a good OS, but there's still a long way to go. You ask, why are we doing this? It is a curiosity to find out what Windows has that Mac OS doesn't, or what features Mac OS has that Windows doesn't. The fact is that over the years, the two operating systems have become more and more similar in terms of features. If you're a Windows user moving to or considering a move to the Mac, then we think you won't miss anything. And the same goes for the move from the macOS to Windows. But learning a new operating system is the frustrating factor in any switch. Remember, the benefits have to outweigh the disadvantages of the unfamiliar. For anyone already using an iPhone or iPad, we feel that macOS will be familiar even if you use Windows, which may be a good reason to move to Mac. However, unlike Windows, the macOS does not support touchscreens. It is important to note that both macOS and Windows have their unique features, strengths, and weaknesses, and the choice between them often depends on personal preferences, specific needs, and hardware requirements. So let's look at some of the obvious differences. Certainly, while macOS and Windows have differences, some are obvious. So here's a few of them. The user interface. macOS and Windows have distinct user interfaces. macOS has a sleek, minimalist design with a menu bar at the top of the screen and a dock at the bottom for launching applications. While Windows, on the other hand, has a start menu and taskbar at the bottom of the screen with a taskbar that can be customized with icons and widgets. There's also exclusive hardware. macOS is designed to work exclusively on Apple hardware such as MacBooks, iMacs, and Mac Pros. In contrast, Windows is designed to run on a wide variety of hardware from different manufacturers, allowing for more options in terms of device form factors and specifications. Then there's the App Store. macOS has the Mac App Store, which is the official app store for downloading and installing applications on Macs. Windows has the Microsoft Store, which is the official app store for Windows, but it's not as popular among users and developers compared to the Mac App Store. Default applications. macOS comes with a suite of built-in applications developed by Apple, such as Pages, Numbers, Keynote, iMovie, and GarageBand. Windows comes with built-in applications developed by Microsoft, such as Microsoft Office, Edge, web browser, and the Windows Media Player. In the gaming area, historically, Windows has been the dominant platform for PC gaming due to its wider compatibility with hardware and software. However, macOS has been improving its gaming capabilities in recent years, and with the release of Windows 11, Microsoft has announced several gaming-focused features, such as support for DirectX 12 Ultimate, Auto HDR, and improved gaming performance. Both have virtual assistants. macOS has Siri, Apple's virtual assistant, which allows users to interact with their Mac using voice commands. Windows has Cortana, Microsoft's virtual assistant, which provides similar voice-activated functionalities. Contrary to popular belief, Cortana is available in Windows 11 for those who choose to install it. Integration. macOS is tightly integrated with the Apple's ecosystem, including iCloud for cloud storage, iMessage for messaging, FaceTime for video calling, and Handoff for seamless continuity between Apple devices. Meanwhile, Windows has its ecosystem of services, such as OneDrive for cloud storage, Microsoft Teams for messaging and video calling, and Microsoft Your Phone app for connecting with Android devices. It's worth noting that while the macOS and Windows share similarities, there may be differences in the implementation and user experience of certain features. Additionally, the specific version of macOS and Windows, as well as the hardware and software configurations on a particular system, can affect the similarities and differences between the two operating systems. So let's look at the similarities. Certainly, while macOS and Windows have differences, they also share some similarities. And here are a few of them. File system. Both macOS and Windows have hierarchical file systems that allow users to organize and manage their files and folders in a similar manner. They both use concepts such as folders, subfolders, and files, and offer features like file search, copy, move, and delete. They both have productivity applications. macOS comes with built-in productivity applications that allows users to create documents, spreadsheets, and presentations. For example, macOS has Pages, Numbers, and Keynote, while Windows has the optional Microsoft Office suite to include Word, Excel, and PowerPoint. Both are capable of multitasking. Both Mac OS and Windows provide multitasking capabilities, allowing users to run multiple applications and to switch between them. They both have taskbars or docks that allows users to switch between applications and offer features such as Windows Management, virtual desktops, Snap Assist to help users organize and manage multiple windows. They both offer web browsers. Both Mac OS and Windows have come with default web browsers, Safari for the Mac OS and Microsoft Edge for Windows. Additionally, popular web browsers such as Google Chrome, Mozilla Firefox, and others are available in both operating systems. Network connectivity. Both Mac OS and Windows support a wide range of networking and connectivity options such as Wi-Fi, Ethernet, Bluetooth, and USB connections. They both provide settings and features for managing network connections, sharing files, printers over a network, and connecting to external devices. They offer accessibility capabilities. Both Mac OS and Windows include accessibility features to make the operating system more usable for individuals with disabilities. They may include features such as screen readers, magnifiers, color contrast options, and keyboard shortcuts among others. While there may be a difference in the availability of certain software applications for Mac OS and Windows, both operating systems support a wide range of third-party software developed by various vendors, including productivity apps, creative tools, entertainment software, and more. So let's look at the desktops and how they differ or how they're similar. The Mac OS desktop is the virtual interface that appears on your Mac computer screen after you have logged in. It typically includes the following elements: desktop wallpaper. This is the background image that covers the entire desktop. Mac OS comes with a variety of pre-installed wallpapers that you can choose to set your own custom wallpaper. Icons, the small graphical representations of files, folders, and applications that are stored on your desktop are in the dock, a bar that typically appears at the bottom or the side of the screen. Icons can be arranged in a grid pattern on the desktop and can be clicked to open files, folders, or launch applications. The menu bar is a horizontal bar that spans the top of the screen and contains various menus such as the Apple menu, application menus, system status icons, such as the Wi-Fi, battery, sound, etc. The dock is a bar that typically appears at the bottom or the side of the screen and contains icons for frequently used applications, files, and folders. You can click on these icons to quickly launch applications or open files and folders. The menu bar icons on the right side of the menu bar, you see various icons that represent system status, such as Wi-Fi, signal strength, battery life, and sound volume. The Finder is the default file management application in macOS, and it typically appears as an open window on the desktop. It allows you to navigate and manage files and folders on your Mac. The menu bar may have some menu bar icons or apps that run in the background, such as the calendar app, messenger app, or cloud storage apps. These may display information or provide quick access to certain features via the menu bar. And the appearance of the Mac desktop may vary depending on the version that you're using, as well as any customization or personalization you may have made to your Mac desktop. So the above description provides a general overview of the typical elements you might see on a Mac OS desktop. And I will be demonstrating all of that shortly. So when we look at the Windows desktop, that we're familiar with, it also is a visual interface that appears on your computer screen after you've had logged in, and it typically includes the following elements. It has desktop wallpaper, it has icons, it has a taskbar, and that's the horizontal bar that typically appears at the bottom of the screen, containing various elements as the start button, taskbar icons, system status, such as Wi-Fi, battery, and sound. The start button is a clickable button that opens the start menu, which provides access to app settings and other features. So there's not a whole lot of difference at this point between the two, other than the appearance. And of course, with Windows, you have the system tray, or sometimes called the sys tray, and it's a section of your taskbar that displays system status icons, such as notification, the clock, volume control, and the notification center. We have a search bar on the right side of the taskbar, and you may see the search bar or Cortana if you have Cortana installed, which is a virtual assistant to help you search for your files, launch applications, and so forth. Desktop icons, again, like in the Mac, they represent file folders and applications that may be placed on the desktop for easy access. And you can click on these to open files, folders, and launch applications. Also, the File Explorer is the default file management application in Windows, and it typically appears in an open window on the desktop. It allows you to navigate and manage files and folders on your computer. The Notification Center allows you to access the system tray, which displays notifications from apps, system updates, and other alerts. And again, the appearance of the Windows desktop may vary depending on your settings, your personalization choices, and installed apps. So the above description just is a general overview of the typical elements you might see on a Windows desktop. And we'll now discuss the key differences with the keyboard on a Mac and the one that we use for our Windows machines. On the keyboard for Macs, the control, option, and command keys have different functions compared to the Control, Alt, Delete keys on a Windows keyboard. For comparison, the Control key. In a Mac, the Control key, often abbreviated as just CTRL, is primarily used for accessing shortcut commands within applications, such as copy, paste, and undo. In a Windows machine, the Control key on the Windows keyboard functions similarly to the Mac OS, allowing for shortcut commands within applications, such as copy, paste, and undo. The Option or Alt key in the Mac, the Option key, also labeled as Alt, ALT, is used for typing special characters, accents, and symbols. It also is used for accessing additional options in certain applications, such as options plus shift to
Voice is not recognized.
between language and options to access context menus. In Windows, the Up key is primarily used for accessing menus in applications such as Alt plus F for accessing the file menu, or Alt plus Tab for switching between open applications. And it's typically not used for typing special characters or accents. The Command or Delete key in macOS, the Command key, also labeled as CMD, or that unusual looking symbol on a Mac keyboard, is used as a modifier key for various system-wide functions such as Command plus C for copying, Command plus V for pasting, Command plus Q for quitting applications. The Delete key on the Mac OS keyboard functions similarly to the backspace key on a Windows keyboard, deleting characters to the left of the cursor. In Windows, the Delete key on the Windows keyboard is used for deleting characters to the right of the cursor, similar to the forward delete key on a Mac OS keyboard. The Windows key, often abbreviated as Win, functions as a system-wide modifier key for accessing the Windows Start menu, as well as various system functions and shortcuts. Updates for Mac OS and Windows. So the frequency of updates for the Mac OS and Windows depend on the operating system version and the specific update type. So here's a general comparison. For Mac OS updates, major updates are typically released as major updates once a year. These updates may introduce new features, improvements, and bug fixes. The naming conventions of Mac OS updates usually are based on California landmarks, such as Mac OS Big Sur, Mac OS Monterey, and the current operating system is Ventura. And supplemental updates, Apple may release those in between major updates and address critical issues or security vulnerabilities, very similar to what's happened and what's done with Windows. For Windows updates, they consist of feature updates, and Windows typically has now reaches 2 major feature updates each year, and they're known as spring and fall. That was with Windows 10, and now with the Windows 11, they have decided to do one annual update with a interim in between, if I've got that correct. Windows also has monthly updates, which they are known as Patch Tuesday, which includes security patches and bug fixes for known issues. And then there's the cumulative updates, which they roll up multiple fixes and improvements into a single update. So the need for updates for both Mac and Windows, it's worth noting that both Mac and Windows also receive updates outside the regular major and monthly updates as needed to address security vulnerabilities, critical issues, and bug fixes. The frequency of the updates also depend on your settings, and some users may choose to receive updates automatically or manually control the update process. To be clear, both Mac OS and Windows get frequent updates to fix problems, add new features, and to improve performance and security. The frequency of those updates vary, but generally both operating systems receive updates on a regular basis to ensure stability, security, and functionality. So let's do a little bit of a demo here, and we'll just look at the desktop and make some comments. So I'm going to now demo this. Okay, so the dock and the menu bar. The dock and menu bar are two distinct features in macOS that serve different purposes and have different functionalities. The dock provides a graphical bar for launching and managing applications, files, and folders typically located at the bottom of the screen, such as you see here. So here's my dock, and this is the standard out-of-the-box configuration with one exception. I have replaced Safari with Microsoft Edge because that's my preference for my browser. Although I still have Safari installed, I just I removed it from the dock and placed Microsoft Edge here. And then here's messages. Here's my mail, which I have configured to have 4 mailboxes. I have my SBC global mailbox. I have my Gmail mailbox. I have my Cox, and I have APCUG. So these are all integrated together, and so I can just choose whichever one I want. And then, of course, calendar. These are all pinned applications, which are very similar to the ones that you would pin on your taskbar. There's one exception, of course, is that you also have the menu bar across the top, which in Windows is kind of a combination. In other words, the area in Windows that we know as the sys tray is located up here on the right side of our menu bar. So the menu bar provides a persistent bar at the top of the screen for accessing system-wide menus, system icons, and applications and specific menus. So I have PowerPoint running, and as you can see, it's showing PowerPoint. And when I click on it, I get a drop-down box, which I can control PowerPoint in addition to the menu bar that's actually part of PowerPoint. I can edit, I can view, I can do various other things such as zoom all and so forth. And then I have a help. And then on the right side of that, I have Zoom, which is currently running. And when I click on it, it shows that I can mute my audio, I can start my video, I can do the same things that normally I would do with the Zoom menu bar, but they're all been placed here as a shortcut. So I don't have to really be concerned about the control that's on the Zoom menu. I can control those here by just clicking on the little Zoom icon. I also have OneDrive installed, and so here I can access my OneDrive presentations. I can open the folder, view online, do some other things. And this is showing what my battery life is. And this is showing the focus, whether I want it to be disturbed or not disturbed, which is similar to the focus one that you find in Windows. So the menu bar is kind of replaces the sys on the right side. It's like the sys tray in Windows. Now, for searching, Mac calls the search their spotlight. And so it's this little spyglass here, but using Spotlight on the Mac or a search feature on any Apple device is a massive time saver. And it lets you search any file, photo, app you have, and it can even help you do some basic math and convert currencies. So if I was to click on this, you'll see the little search bar comes on. And like my example, I can put 5 plus 5. And it gives me the result. So it's equals 10. And then of course it goes into other multiples as well. And then of course, like in Windows, it gives you other possibilities for using that 5. And here's some series suggestions for Romans 5 in the Bible. It shows you a definitive guide of strong list 5x5 workout program. These are ones that would probably be on the web. And here's a series knowledge. It's quoting something from Wikipedia. It's also giving some developer information using 5. Anything that matches the number, and like in this day, it says Happy Flag Day up to 50%, and I'm sure it's queuing off the 5 and the 50, and then there's some related searches. So it really does quite a bit, and that's called Spotlight. Now, also up here, we have what's called the Control Center. And the macOS Control Center is a feature that was introduced with Big Sur, and it provides a quick access to the various system settings and controls in a unified panel. It includes options for adjusting display brightness, control volume, managing Wi-Fi and Bluetooth connections, enabling do not disturb, and so forth. And the closest thing in the Windows world is the Microsoft Action Center. So the Action Center and the Mac Control Center are very similar in that they both adjust system settings within the operating system. It's just that their location is slightly different. It's like in the Windows world, our Action Center is placed on the taskbar, and it's when you click the date and time, and you get what appears similar to what's in Mac. And so when I click on the little icon, you see here, it shows it's going to show me my Wi-Fi, my Bluetooth. I can use, we'll talk about AirDrop. That's a sharing function that you can use between your contacts, which is similar to the share that's in Windows. And there's other things here. You can change your display and your sound. And that looks like this. To open your Mac Control Center, you need to click on the Control Center icon in the top right corner of your screen. And you can then use any of those controls available. And this is what the icon looks like, and it equates to what we see here. Where to find apps that aren't in the dock? The macOS Launchpad is a built-in application launcher that provides a visual grid of app icons similar to the home screen on iOS devices. It allows users to quickly access and launch applications installed on their Mac using a graphical interface. In Windows, the closest equivalent to the macOS Launchpad would be the Start menu. The Start menu in Windows is a central hub for accessing application, file settings, and other system functions. It typically includes a list of frequently used apps, a search bar for searching apps and files, and a hierarchical menu for categorizing shortcuts to various system functions and application. Both the Mac OS Launchpad and the Windows Start menu serve as an application launcher to provide a way for users to access and launch installed applications. However, they have different visual styles, layouts, and functionalities, as Mac and OS Windows have their own unique user interfaces and design principles. So here, if I look at my launcher, which is this guy right here, it's the Launchpad, and when I click on it, it shows all the applications that I have available to me or that I have installed on my computer. And as you can see here, I have Microsoft as one of my programs, and I can click on that. And I have PowerPoint, I have OneDrive, I have Microsoft Excel and Microsoft Word. So I can still use those applications as well as using the ones that come with Mac, and that would be Keynote, Numbers, and Pages, which are the built-in ones that come with Macs, but at no charge, where of course the Microsoft products are an option that you have to pay for. But they're still quite capable of using those on the Mac. And then to make it, for me, to make it work between all my devices, I also utilize OneDrive, which allows me to be able to sync my documents between all my devices. So it doesn't matter if I'm using the Mac or if I'm using my a PC, or as a matter of fact, using a Chromebook or a Linux machine, I can still access all my documents because I have that one conduit that's coming between all devices. So if there are symbols on your Mac keyboard, you can press the F4 key to open Launchpad, or as we previously showed you, you can use the spotlight to type a Launchpad, and the Launchpad icon should also be located on your Mac's docks, which I showed you. And this is the icon with the 9 squares. And once you open, you should see all the apps that's on your Mac, which we demonstrated. If you want to use your apps in full screen mode, you can use, it'll cover your entire Mac screen, which is perfect for avoiding distractions. You won't be able to see your menu bar at the top of the dock at the bottom, but you can still access them by moving your pointer. So say, for instance, if I want to, I'm going to put PowerPoint back up. Well, let's use Word. I'm going to bring the Word up, and I'm going to bring up this document. Now, if I want to make it full screen, I'm going to use the green dot and say enter full screen. And as it says, it covers your entire screen. But you can still access those by just moving your cursor up. And of course, the menu bar will show. And likewise, you can go to the bottom and your dock will show. And then, of course, to get out of that, you're going to click on your green dot and go exit full screen. And then it exits it. And then if you want to quit, you just click the red dot. The other one is the Finder, and it's the default file management application that provides a graphical interface for users to navigate and manage files and folders. And it offers such as file browsing, file copying, moving, naming, etc. And the Finder in Windows, the closest equivalent, it would be File Explorer. And File Explorer is the default file management application in Windows. So both Finder in the macOS and File Explorer serve as file management that allows you to interact with your files and folders and their on their respective operating system. So Finder, which is here, and it's the little happy face guy. And when I click on that, I have all my files that I can access. So it shows the ones that's in iCloud, which are shared. I don't think I have any in, well, I do have some in iCloud, which is the Macintosh's cloud storage. And then, of course, I can see anything I have on my desktop, which I don't at the moment. And there's documents that I have some. Of course, the ones that I use mostly are the ones in OneDrive, which when I click on that, it shows all the documents I have in OneDrive, which I can access those, which is my primarily storage location. So I have all, this is all the documents I have within OneDrive, and they show up on all my devices. And you can also see any network, such as the same in Windows. You can see whatever network devices you have attached. In this case, this is my router. And then if you're really adventuresome, you can go in and tag these with the various colors to keep them all separated. I have not done that. So the Finder in the macOS is the default management that provides a graphical interface for users, allows you to navigate and manage your files and folders. And it offers the same features as Windows, as browsing, file copying, moving, file renaming, etc. The other differences in Macs is the 3 dots. So in the Mac, the 3 dots are in the upper left corner, referring to the traffic light buttons of a window. And these buttons are used to control the window's behavior, allowing you to minimize, maximize, and close the window. They're also known as the traffic light buttons. And they're including in applications and Finder windows, and each dot has a specific function. The red dot is used to close, and clicking it will close the window or application. The red dot is the minimize button, and it will minimize the windows to the dock, which is the bar icon usually located at the bottom of the screen. So usually when you minimize anything, they're going to appear in this section right here. So right now I have that what's minimized is the a Zoom icon, a Zoom application. It's running in the background, but it's still minimized here, the screens that we were using. And then the green dot is the maximize or full screen button, and clicking it will expand the window to fill the available space. And we demonstrated that earlier. So if I was to click this red button, it would close the application, which would be PowerPoint. And then this would minimize it, like so. And then this button right here would allow me to enter it full screen, or I can do some, I can also move it to the left or right, similar to what you can do in Windows. If you want to split the screen and have one of the documents on the left and one on the right, you can do that. I also can move this presentation to my iPad. if I wanted to be able to continue working on this document while I'm on my iPad, I could just click here and it would move it over to that device. When you're learning to quit, when you quit apps on a Mac, it's pretty straightforward, but there are a couple ways to go about it. First, you can click the close button, the red button with the X's we talked about, but it only closes the window, and it might leave the app running in the background, like, for instance, the Mail app. So to completely close an app on a Mac, you click on the app's name in the menu bar. So PowerPoint. So if I click on this, I will see down here it says quit PowerPoint. So that completely closes the application. And the other way you can, if you're all about learning keyboard shortcuts on your Mac, you can also press Command plus Q, and that'll give you the list of all the and so that quits it completely. So I'm going to start up my PowerPoint again, and I'm going to go here to the Launchpad. And so we're back to where we were. And just as a little exercise, I'm going to talk about right-clicking on a Mac, just to give you some idea of some of the similarities. So one of the things about using a Mac is that most likely you're not going to be using a mouse. You're going to be using your fingers or a touchpad. And so in this case, if I was to wanting to do a right click, like in Windows, right clicking is very useful. I mean, it gives you the ability to copy and paste and reload tabs, etc. So you can just tap on it to make things occur. And so it's probably the easiest way is that when you do the two-finger tap, you get a context menu that allows you to copy and paste and do different things. And that's probably the most common method. But there are other ways that you can also do is that you can do a corner click, and it's an alternative to the two-finger click. And so it enables you to do right clicking as well. Then there is the control click, and that's the final method using your keyboard and trackpad. So you hold down the the control key and click at the same time. So within a Mac, there's different ways of clicking to get a right click as opposed to what you would be using in Windows. To summarize, I guess, is that as I said before, learning a operating system is fun, and you really don't have too many things that are too much different. It's just learning where the changes are and making a comparison between the operating system that you're accustomed to the new one. And with that, you can really learn quickly without a lot of frustration on your part. So some of the sources I used for this presentation was 6 ways to right-click on a Mac without a mouse. Also, I use Chat GPT, and with that, that's my overview of Mac OS versus Windows. So I'm going to stop my share.
Well, I learned a good bit of things this week. Before we let anybody ask questions, we'll switch to Judy first.
An FYI, I think for all of us who give presentations and try to show something about Zoom, Pierre, the president of Tech Ed Connect in New York, let us know that by design, Zoom controls cannot be shared during a Zoom meeting. So that was something new that I learned, plus all the Mac stuff. Inquiring minds would like to know, did you create your PowerPoint presentation while you were using your Mac?
I did.
I thought so too. Cool. And then if viruses, malware, worms, etc. from the Microsoft Windows on your Mac, can they go over to your Mac operating system too? But you're not dual booting. You have a separate Mac machine.
Yes, they're separate. The only way I would get a virus was if I had one within a document or a photo that I was sharing between the machines, and that might carry over to the other device. I do not have any virus protection that's on the Mac, although I do have the virus. I have Windows Defender on my PCs, but I don't have anything on my Mac.
In the Mac Finder, can you change the view from the icon to details with the date, size, etc.? How do you sort the files by date or by title?
That's a good question. Up at the top, I'll share my screen again. I didn't show that, but in the Finder itself, if you notice across the top, let me see if I can see that. There are icons. So here, this would allow me to show the details, which looks very similar to Windows. Here I can just show just the title names. And here is the view of the individual documents. And I can sort them by name, kind, date, last open, edit. I can also share. Through AirDrop or mail or reply to, whatever. And then I can tag them as I showed you earlier with the color buttons here. And then this right here is more options, and I can open with, so forth. But to answer your question more directly, yes, you can.
Thank you. That was, I have a kudo for you. And after your work of learning Linux this year, and now starting on your way to being proficient with the Mac, says, thanks, BJ. For me, the ability to see and control everything in the same way with the same icons and the same features on my computer, phone, and iPad is the leading plus for Apple. So I got the method in our madness was a good idea. And those are all of the questions I have in my chat box, and the chat box for BJ is now closed. Pierre, you're on.
Lost him again.
Okay, Cynthia.
No, it's me. So give me a chance to find him again.
Oh, you need to keep your hand up until you.
No, I hit the hand down
Oh,
instead of ask him
oh.
to unmute.
My lips are zipped.
Yeah, I see Pierre.
Yep, I got him down
Please
here.
mute it.
Right. I have to let him unmute. Now he can talk.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, John. I don't have questions. I just have some small clarifications. First of all, thank you, Bill, for a great presentation. I applaud you for learning the Mac so quickly. I've been using a Mac started using Macs, I should say, about 7-8 years ago. So I consider myself bilingual now. So if you get the gist of bilingual, but my primary computer is still a PC. But I just wanted to make some clarification. So Bill, no offense, please. First of all, it's macOS with a lowercase m, and it's one word. Okay, even if macOS appears as the first word of a sentence. I've seen a lot of Mac OS in 2 words or Mac OS all caps. No, it's MAC lowercase and OS uppercase. Anyway, that's for everybody, not just for you, Bill. The Finder icon is not on the desktop. It's always the first icon on the dock at the bottom left of your screen. Okay. And it's always open, so that's why you always see the dot underneath it. It's equivalent to Windows Explorer, always running, even if you don't have the Windows Explorer windows open. It's the same concept, it's always running. You mentioned copy, paste, and undo, and you mentioned Control C, V, Z. That's only on Windows. On the Mac, it's Command CVZ, which you corrected yourself in a later slide, but I want to make sure that people understand that Control C, Control V, Control Z will not do what you would expect on a Mac. Okay, the Control key is used for other things on a Mac. The Alt key is used for typing special characters on Windows, specifically if you use your numeric keypad. As far as I know, but I would be glad to be proven wrong, there is no forward delete key on a Mac keyboard. So there's no way to do the equivalent of delete of the delete key on a Windows keyboard. In terms of Windows updates, it's both Windows 10 and 11 that no longer have two major updates per year, since Windows 10 21 H2, which was in the fall of 2021. It's just a full update. So there was 22 H2. There was no such thing as 22 H1, and there won't be a 23 H1 either. So it's both Windows 10 and 11 are having a release, a major release once a year. Interestingly enough, cumulative updates are optional on Windows 10, but mandatory on Windows 11. Don't ask me why. I just noticed it. That's all. I have no idea. why Microsoft does that. I've noticed you have 162,756 unread emails. Congratulations, you top my clients by a mile, okay? As Judy Taylor already mentioned, you cannot show any Zoom windows. You cannot share any Zoom windows or controls during a Zoom meeting. So whatever you were trying to show us, nobody saw it, myself included. The red dot back on a Mac, the red dot does not quit a program. This is the #1 misconception with Mac users. They all think, and I have a lot of clients who are Mac users, they all think that by clicking the red dot, they're closing the program or the application. That's not the case. They're only closing the window and the program is still open and running. And the way to know that it's still running is that there's a black dot underneath the
I'm in the midst of applying for residency right now. Wish me luck. Grammarly has again been a lifesaver.
Somebody is okay. So the way to know that a program is still open is that there is a tiny black dot underneath the icon in the dock. So you have to click on that and go to the menu bar, click on the name of the program, and then select quit. So I've seen people with 10 programs open that they didn't know were open. Okay, and of course that's using memory, which affects performance. So it's something that Mac users need to know. When you minimize a window, it does not, on a Mac again, it does not necessarily go to the recently used area at the bottom right of the dock. It could be going straight to the dock. It's the main part of the dock. If the icon was already there, the right area of the dock is the recently used. Okay, also something that people don't know. And there is a delimiter between the main part of the dock and the recently used area. There is a thin vertical bar that separate the main part of the dock from the recently used list of applications. And again, Command Q does not give you any kind of list. Command Q is the equivalent, Command Q on the Mac is the equivalent of Alt F4 on Windows, and that closes the program or application that currently has the focus. And that's all I have. But thank you again, Bill. It was a great presentation. I think you've covered a lot of material in a very simple way. So congrats on that.
Thank you.
Cynthia, it's your turn.
Hi, this is Cynthia Simmons. I'm not going to use a video. And I just want to mention really fast, last night I sent Julie an SOS email about a newsletter issue with my club, and she responded immediately. So kudos to you for your rapid response to requests for help. I have two questions. The first one is off topic that just occurred to me. Is Wikipedia now considered a definitive source? I'm a trained editor, and when I was getting my two certifications, University of Chicago and the University of California, San Diego online, Wikipedia was regarded with some confidence by some people, some of the instructors, and not with others. And that's a very minor question. I have one more. Any comment? Okay, no comment.
I will answer that. My answer is no. It is something that is not cast in concrete. Anybody can go in and change anything if they'd like to. Bill thinks, the opposite of me, but it's all in the eye of the beholder on what you think about Wikipedia. Take it as a resource and do with it what you would like.
Thank you for updating my information on that. Okay, here's my major real question, and it's partly my own stupidity, but I'm a PC person. My dad worked for IBM for 32 years before he retired. And while he was alive, I never owned anything but an IBM product, be it a PC or a printer. But I bought a MacBook Pro 12 years ago. I had seen a friend using her MacBook with Windows. And I thought, well, gee, I'd like to try that. So when I purchased my MacBook Pro, I purchased the software which allows, I don't know, the creation of a partition so that you can also run Windows. I did not install it. I did purchase licenses for Windows Professional 2007. And I did not realize that if you don't continually update your Mac, that you become obsolete.
Yes, you do.
I'm now obsolete. I guess I can do some local stuff because it's the browser and the, I don't know, I could use the software I already have. Is there an outside chance that I can go backwards? I think I have the media that can do this, the CDs.
Cynthia, send me an email about this and I will get somebody that will help you, okay?
I'll answer that for her.
Okay.
Or later.
No,
But I think it depends on what year. You said you bought that 10 years ago. So
12 years ago, 2011.
now one of the big factors now is that Apple has gone to a new processor. So the likelihood that you're able to get current is going to be remote, if not possible, because they've gone to their own in-house processors. And most of those prior machines were built with Intel processors. So that right there is one of the issues you have. You're probably going to have to replace the machine.